It was a wedding dressed in white lies, smiles too wide, glances that lasted too long. Somewhere between the vows and the toast, the clock started ticking. No one heard it. Not the groom, not the guests. But behind the champagne and speeches, something was already set to explode. At 6:14 a.m. it did. A body in the fountain, blood in the water, and a bride no one could quite look in the eye. This is true crime's altar. The vineyard estate was rented for the weekend, perched in the rolling hills of Central California, the kind of place with lantern-lit paths and white roses blooming in every direction. The Martinez wedding was meant to be perfect, and to almost everyone there, it was. David Martinez, 29, finance consultant, mild-mannered, freshly clean-shaven for the occasion, was marrying Lana Hale, 25, art curator, mysterious, beautiful, the kind of woman who didn't just walk into a room, she shifted the temperature. Guests had flown in from 4 states. There were monogrammed champagne flutes, a 10-piece string quartet, even a late-night espresso bar. But David hadn't been sleeping. Not well. He told his best friend Marcus that it was nerves, cold feet, the weight of commitment. But that wasn't it. It was something else. Something he couldn't name. Something he saw 3 weeks ago at a family dinner, then told himself not to believe. A moment, barely a second, when his father's hand brushed Lana's lower back. Innocent. Maybe. But it lingered. Too long. Marcus had brushed it off. You're just stressing. Big weekend. Trust me, man, you're golden. But the doubt didn't leave. It circled him like a smell he couldn't wash off. Luis Martinez, David's father, was a commanding man. Wealthy, former contractor turned property mogul, handsome in the way older men become when they stop needing anyone's approval. His presence filled the room. His voice cut through silence. And when he looked at Lana, David always felt like he was watching something private. Lana had met Luis before she met David. That detail had only come up once, in a joke she told at brunch early in their relationship. Something about meeting the father before the son. David had laughed then. It didn't seem important. But now, it felt like the punchline had changed. The rehearsal dinner was held inside the vineyard's stone hall, under low wooden beams wrapped in string lights. Guests clinked glasses. Luis made a speech. Everyone laughed, except David. He watched Lana watching Luis. A look passed between them. Not overt, not vulgar, but not right. Not right at all. Later that night, David found her by the oak trees, barefoot, holding a glass of red. Her dress was pale green, her hair curled and pinned like a movie star. "You okay?" he asked. She smiled. "It's the last night before I become yours forever. Shouldn't I be a little nervous?" He kissed her. But her lips didn't linger, and as she turned away, he caught her looking toward the house, toward the lighted windows where his father had just gone in. The wedding day came hot and cloudless. Lana wore silk. David wore sweat under his collar. Photos were taken. Vows exchanged. Champagne flowed like water. But David couldn't feel any of it. Every laugh sounded hollow. Every time she touched him, he wondered who else she'd touched. Marcus pulled him aside between courses. "You good?" David nodded too quickly. "Why wouldn't I be?" "You're not smiling. You look like you're bracing for impact." "I'm fine." "Then act like it. Everyone's watching." In the hours that followed, nothing major happened. Just glances. Just smiles. But each one chipped away at what little piece David had left. The first real crack came at 11:47 p.m. when Marcus saw something, or thought he did, out near the vineyard's private library room, light leaking from behind a partially closed door. 2 shadows, one taller, one smaller. One with Lana's silhouette, the other, Luis. By the time Marcus got closer, the door clicked shut. Footsteps retreated on opposite ends. He didn't say anything. Not yet. but something turned in his gut. Something cold. Something sharp. David was too drunk to notice. Or maybe he just didn't want to. That night, Lana returned to their suite alone. David showed up 20 minutes later, his tie half loosened, eyes unfocused. "Where were you?" she asked softly. "Walking," he said. She touched his arm. "You okay?" He looked at her then. Really looked. "Did anything happen tonight I should know about?" She blinked once, then smiled, too calm. "Like what?" "With my dad." The smile faded, but she didn't break. "No?" "Why?" "Because Marcus thought. Marcus needs to stay out of our marriage." She poured a glass of water, sipped it slowly, and said nothing else. Neither did he. But he didn't sleep that night. Neither did she. The morning after the wedding was silent. Not peaceful, strained. David woke first. Lana was already in the shower, humming something off-key, like nothing had happened. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the carpet, piecing together fragments he didn't want to face. Marcus had sent him a single message at 3:12 a.m. "We need to talk." Alone. David replied an hour later. No answer. He dressed slowly, deliberately, like a man preparing for a battle no one else knew was coming. Downstairs, the staff was already clearing tables, stacking chairs, sweeping away the remains of a celebration that had ended in something else entirely. Luis was on the terrace, sunglasses on, a black coffee in hand. Lana joined him moments later. David saw it from the window. He saw the way she leaned in to speak, the way his father's hand rested briefly on hers. Not long, just enough. He stepped away from the glass before they could see him, but it was already burned into his memory. Marcus met him near the vineyard edge, away from the noise. His face was pale, jaw tight. "You're not going to like this," he started. "Then just say it," David replied. "Last night I saw them, together, in the library." David didn't speak, just stared. "It wasn't nothing, man. They weren't arguing. They were close, intimate." David closed his eyes. "Did they see you?" "No. I left. I didn't want to walk in on something I can't unsee." "Too late." That afternoon, David confronted Lana. Not with a scream, just stillness. "How long?" he asked. She blinked, feigned confusion. "How long have you and my father been involved?" She swallowed. Hard. "David, what are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me. Not today." She stepped back. "We're not involved." "But you were." Silence. Then softly, "Before you." Briefly. It meant nothing. David's voice dropped. "You stood there yesterday, in front of God, my friends, my family, and you knew." "I made a choice," she whispered. "I chose you." "No. You chose comfort." He walked out before she could answer. Louise found him an hour later by the wine cellar, uninvited. "I heard you're asking questions," he said coolly. "You want answers? Or do you want someone to blame?" "Did you sleep with her?" David asked. Louise looked away, then back. "Would it change anything if I said yes?" David stepped forward, fists clenched. "You're my father. And she's not yours." "Not really. She was never going to be." "Why?" "Because I know what she wants. And it's not you." David's hand moved, too fast, too angry, and hit the wall beside Louise's head. Not a punch, just a warning. Louise didn't flinch. "You're not strong enough to hate me properly," he said. That night, David stayed in a separate guest room. Lana didn't come find him. She stayed in the bridal suite, alone, or so he hoped. At 2:33 a.m., he left the room, just walking. Or that's what he told himself. The hallway was empty. The stairs creaked. The door was ajar. Luis's. Inside, two glasses sat on the desk. One still warm. Footsteps. Lana's. Coming from the hallway behind him. "What are you doing?" she asked, eyes wide. "Looking for my father," David said flatly. "Why are you up?" "I couldn't sleep." "Neither could I." She walked past him, into the room, picked up one of the glasses. "He left hours ago," she lied. "You're a terrible liar," he said. She placed the glass down. "And you're a terrible husband." Something snapped. He grabbed her wrist. Not hard, just enough. "You married me to hide it." "No. I married you because I thought I could forget him." "And did you?" Her eyes burned. "No." He let go. She left the room. David stayed, staring at the empty bed. The next day, Marcus cornered him. "You need to leave. Today. Before this gets worse." "I'm not running. This is poison. Whatever this is, it's killing you. I just want the truth." "You already have it. You just don't want to believe it." At dusk, David found Luis again, near the fountain, alone. No words this time, just tension. "You're going to destroy everything," David said. "It was already broken," Luis replied. "You just didn't notice. I'm your son." "Then act like it." David stared at him, trembling. "If I find out you touched her again." "You'll what?" Luis said, stepping closer. "Kill me?" The silence that followed was thick. Then Luis smiled. "You're not that kind of man." David didn't answer. He turned and walked away. But the look in his eyes said otherwise. That night, the cameras caught something unusual. Luis walking toward the garden. Lana, 10 minutes behind. David? Not on any footage after 11:52 p.m. Just vanished. Until the scream at 6:14 a.m. The vineyard was different in the dark. Quieter. Heavier. As if the walls had started to listen. Luis walked through the garden like he owned it, hands in his pockets, face unreadable. Lana followed minutes later, her heels silent on the grass. Her silk robe barely covered her dress from earlier. She looked like someone who had made a decision and regretted it halfway through. No one spoke. Not at first. "Then, you said this wouldn't happen," she whispered. Luis turned, his voice low, "And yet here we are." "He knows," she said. "He doesn't have proof," Luis replied. "He doesn't need proof. He's not sleeping. He's watching me like I'm a stranger." "He's soft," Luis said with quiet disgust. "That's why he needed you in the first place." Lana took a breath. "This is over. Whatever this was, it ends now." Luis laughed once, sharp. "You think you get to choose when this ends. I'm his wife now. I gave him vows. I have to live with this. You made those vows with my name still in your mouth." Her slap came fast. His face turned slightly, more amused than wounded. "You feel better now?" he asked. "Don't come near me again." She turned, but he grabbed her arm. Not violently, just control. She froze. "If you walk away now, you don't just lose me. You lose everything I gave you. The connections, the money, the art scene you begged me to open for you." She pulled back. "I never begged." "No," he said, letting her go. "You just took." She walked off without another word. From the shadows near the trees, someone watched. David. He hadn't meant to follow her. He just needed air. But when he saw her robe, saw where she went, saw who she went to, something in him went cold. He didn't hear their words, but he saw enough. The way Louise touched her, the way she stepped back, the slap, the silence. He stood there long after they were both gone. Later, in his room, he didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just stared at the wall, motionless. The time on the clock blinked. 2:41 a.m. At 3:12 a.m., Marcus knocked. David didn't answer. The door wasn't locked. "I saw something," Marcus said. "Tonight, in the garden." David still didn't speak. "I think you were right. About all of it." David turned slowly. "It doesn't matter now." "What do you mean?" "She's made her choice." Marcus stepped forward. "You don't sound angry." "I'm not. Then what are you? Done. Marcus hesitated. Come with me. Just leave. We'll get a flight. No, I have one more thing to say to him. David, it won't be a scene. Just closure. Marcus looked at him for a long time. You sure? I'm calm, David said. Too calm, Marcus whispered. At 5:03 a.m., Lana entered the kitchen for water. Luis was already there, shirtless, unbothered. Couldn't sleep? He asked. She didn't respond. This was always going to happen, he said. You knew that. I don't want to do this anymore. You mean lie? She nodded. Or pretend I didn't love you first. She froze. What? That's what this is, isn't it? You love me. You always have. It was just a way to make it feel less dirty. Her voice broke. Don't say that. You think you're the first girl to want both the crown and the kingdom? You disgust me. And yet, he stepped closer. She backed away. The moment hung there, sharp and sour. Then, David's voice behind them. Should I come back later? They turned. He was in the doorway, calm, still. His voice held nothing. Lana dropped her glass. It shattered. No one moved. Can we talk? David said, looking at his father. Luis nodded. Lana stepped back. David, just us, he said gently. She left. One glance back. Fear and guilt and confusion tangled in her eyes. The kitchen door clicked shut. No one knows what was said next. No one heard shouting. No one heard a struggle.
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
At 6:14 a.m., the housekeeper found Luis face down in the fountain, a red bloom in the water, his head against the stone edge, his eyes wide open. The scream woke everyone. Lana ran out barefoot. David stood in the hallway, still in yesterday's shirt, motionless. Marcus came running from the guest house. What happened? The staff cried. Is he breathing? Call 911. Lana's hands were shaking. Her robe clung to her legs. What happened? She kept whispering. David didn't answer. He just looked at her. His face was blank, cold. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. Pronounced dead at the scene. Cause of death, blunt force trauma to the skull. No blood trail. No weapon found. Police arrived shortly after. Guests kept back. Questions began immediately. Who found him? Who saw him last? Where's the son? David was escorted to the side. Not cuffed. Not yet. Just questioned. When was the last time you saw your father, Mr. Martinez? David blinked. We spoke early this morning. About what? Family matters. Did you argue? Not really. Did anyone else see you together? No. Did you leave the property at any time? No. Lana was next. Hands trembling, voice cracking. We had an argument last night. I told him to stay away from me. He wouldn't. Why? He was obsessed. With what? With ruining everything. The officer tilted his head. Did your husband know? She hesitated. Yes. And how did he react? He wanted to confront him. Did he? I don't know. I fell asleep. Marcus was pulled aside too. Do you think the groom would hurt his father? Marcus looked down. I think anyone pushed far enough could do something they regret. The detective's eyes narrowed. The time bomb had finally gone off, but no one knew yet who lit the fuse. The detective assigned to the Martinez case was nothing like the local officers who first arrived. Detective Evangeline Hart moved quietly, spoke rarely, and listened like every word might detonate something hidden. By the time she stepped onto the property, the crime scene was cold, The body already transported, and the wedding guests turned suspects were restless behind glass windows and closed doors. She began with the timeline. Luis Martinez was last seen alive by staff at 5:20 a.m., drinking coffee in the kitchen. Lana claims she entered minutes later. David claims he entered just after she left. 3 stories, 1 dead man, no witnesses. Hart examined the fountain first. The stone edge had a sharp corner, bloodstained. A dark red arc smeared the side of Luis's temple. No broken bones, no bruises elsewhere, just one massive blow. "You don't fall like that without help," she murmured to her partner. The weapon was still missing, but the ground near the garden wall had soft indentations, fresh ones. The landscaper had watered the area the night before. Mud had dried and crusted unevenly. Hart crouched. She picked something up, a shard of dark glass, heavy, curved. "Wine bottle," she said quietly. "Cabernet. Expensive." Inside, she began interviews again. Clean, direct. She started with David. He didn't ask for a lawyer. Not yet. "Tell me about the conversation with your father that morning." It was short. "What did you discuss?" "Family issues." "Was your wife involved?" "Not directly." "Did you argue?" "No." "Did you leave him alone in the garden?" "Yes." "Where did you go after?" "To my room." "Did anyone see you?" "No." "Did you sleep?" "No." "What were you thinking about?" He looked her dead in the eye. "Murder." Hart didn't flinch. "Thinking about it isn't the same as doing it." "But sometimes," he said, "they're closer than people think." Lana was next. She was trembling, her eyes swollen. "He was cruel," she whispered. "Luis?" "Yes." "In what way?" "He wouldn't let go. He wanted me, like I belonged to him, like David was just a bridge." "Did you love him?" "No." "Did you ever?" She paused. "I thought I did. Once." "Did David know that?" "He found out. The night before." "What happened after that?" "I went to bed. I didn't see David again until the scream. Is that true?" Lana stared at the table. "I didn't kill him. I swear I didn't." Marcus was pulled in next. He was calm, but something in his posture was off. Too straight, too prepared. "You were the first to suggest David leave. Why?" "Because I could see him breaking." "Had he ever shown signs of violence?" "But there's a difference between being violent and being pushed into it." "Were you trying to protect him?" "Yes." "From his father?" "From himself." "Did you know about the affair?" Marcus exhaled. "I suspected." "And you never told David?" "Not until it was too late." "Where were you between 5 and 6 a.m.? "Asleep." "Can anyone verify that?" "No." "Do you think David killed Luis?" Marcus hesitated. "I think someone did. And David had reasons. But so did Lana." "What about you?" Marcus smiled once. "If I killed him, I wouldn't be sitting here." Hart didn't smile back. She walked the property again, re-examined the wine cellar, the garden arch, the benches near the fountain. She saw something in the gravel, drag marks, swept partially, as if someone had tried to erase them. She followed them to the wall, a cluster of vines. Behind them, a small hollow. She reached in and pulled out a half-smashed wine bottle. Dried blood. No fingerprints, but a hair. Dark, curled, bagged, sent for analysis. That night, David sat alone in his guest suite. A knock. Marcus. "They're closing in," Marcus said. David didn't move. "I know. Do you want to tell me what happened?" David looked at him. "Would it matter?" "To me?" "Yeah." David stared at the floor. "He said I was nothing, that she was never mine, that I didn't have the spine to do what he would have done." "What did you do?" "I asked him to back off. For good. Told him I'd leave Lana, leave everything. Just if he'd let her go." "And?" He laughed. "Said I didn't have the guts." "And then?" David didn't answer. Marcus pressed. Did you hit him? David looked up. No. Then what? I walked away. Did anyone see you? No. Then how do I know you're telling the truth? You don't. Across the estate, Lana sat on the edge of the bathtub, shaking. She opened her phone, drafted a message, deleted it, tried again. I need to tell you something. About that night. About what really happened. She didn't send it. She powered the phone off. In the kitchen, Detective Hart stared at the wine bottle fragment, her fingers tracing the glass through a glove, the blood pattern, the angle. It was thrown, not swung, from behind, meaning Luis never saw it coming. A kill of opportunity or desperation. She looked at the photo of the three, father, son, bride. One man dead, one man cracking, one woman slipping, one truth buried beneath silence. Tomorrow someone would confess, or break, or both. Detective Hart returned to the estate one last time, not for questions but for confirmation. The DNA from the wine bottle matched Luis's blood and a single strand of Lana's hair caught in the sticky congealment. But it wasn't definitive. The angle still mattered. The height, the force. All signs pointed to someone taller, someone stronger, someone with motive. She called David in again. He came alone, worn, pale, quiet. She placed the bottle on the table between them. We found it, she said. He looked at it, then at her. I figured you would. It's your father's blood and Lana's hair. But not my prints? No. Cleaned or wiped or gloved. So you don't know who did it? Not yet. But you think it's me. Do you want to tell me it's not? He hesitated. It's not. Then tell me who it is. His silence lingered too long. She leaned in. The truth always comes. You can either give it now or let a trial give it for you. That night, a message appeared on Marcus's phone. From Lana. One line. He didn't do it. I did. Hart got the message forwarded within the hour. Lana was brought in. She didn't cry this time. She looked strangely peaceful. He was never going to let me go, she said. He told me that morning, in the garden. He said David was too weak to fight back, that I'd always belonged to him. He grabbed me. I pulled away. He laughed. Said, run if you want, I'll follow you into your marriage bed. That's when I saw the bottle. I don't remember deciding. I just remember the sound it made. Hart listened. You hit him once? Once. Then what? He staggered, fell into the fountain. I thought he'd get back up, but he didn't. And you left him? I ran. I cleaned my hands. I didn't know what to do. Did David know? No, but I think he suspected. He covered for me anyway, even when he thought I didn't love him. And did you? Not the way he wanted. But yes, enough to let him hate me quietly. Charges were filed. Lana Martinez, née Caldwell, was indicted on one count of second-degree murder. She pled guilty, waived trial, and refused to allow David or Marcus to speak at sentencing. The courtroom was silent when she rose to hear the judge's words. The air felt heavy, every breath held back. The judge, an older woman with slate eyes, read her statement clearly. You chose silence over help. You chose a weapon over an exit. Though I understand your fear, I cannot excuse your violence. You are hereby sentenced to 18 years in prison without parole for 14. Let this be your reckoning and your reminder what begins in deceit ends in silence. Lana didn't react. She turned, hands cuffed, eyes dry, and walked without looking back. David never visited her. Marcus left the country 6 months later. The estate was sold. The fountain drained. At the bottom, beneath years of mineral stain, was a faint, rust-colored smear that wouldn't come off, a final echo of a wedding that turned into a tomb. Some say love ends in heartbreak. Others, like this story, remind us sometimes it ends in murder. This is True Crime's Altar, where vows break and truth bleeds.